All right, let's see. Okay, let you guys keep chatting in the chat there. Hey, YouTube as well, taking a moment to actually start recording here, because what we're going to do next is I've been talking about sort of making some modifications to the train tracks, both for the Wild West train, which we've been working on today, and also to the Orient Express as well. So if you look kind of at the picture here of the way the Wild West train is set up, they have these train tracks. So let's pop these open, actually, because they come... How do they do this? Supposed to pull it off. It's been a while since I've done Lego train tracks. These are really stuck on... Oh, it's the bottom. So it's like a pin, so I must want to pull everything away. Ugh. I cannot remember. Anyway, the point is, basically the way that they're doing this, they have this up 3 levels. So they have like a base level, like this. And then they have a second level. And then they put the train track on top of there. And for the way that my layout works, that's not going to work. So we actually have to modify this so that these tan plates are the first level. And then we're basically going to go back and do kind of like exactly the same thing for the train tracks, the steel, black, gray train tracks that came with the Orient Express also. Of course, that's all depending on if I can actually get this separated. Okay, so that's like a little... Can I pull that off? I just opened up a ton of Lego train tracks not that long ago. There we go. I popped it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I stream to both Twitch and YouTube. But there's not really much point to streaming to YouTube if I'm just like, just like building a set. Like we were just kind of building a set following the instructions earlier. But now we're actually making a modification, and it's nice to have sort of like a record of kind of like, what was I thinking? Why did I make the modification I wanted to make, or so on. So since we're about to modify kind of 2 different sets here, I was like, let's see it. Let's work on it live. There goes that cactus that we've been laughing at all day again. Okay, put the cactus there. All right, cool. So I'm going to go back to the instructions. And basically, I'm just going to totally ignore... put that kind of like back there. Yeah, that's fine. Basically, whenever it says kind of to use the dark gray pieces as a base, I'm just going to dark tan pieces as a base. I'm going to ignore them, and I'm going to start with that second level. So, like, yeah, Philip, when you're, like, going through... This is exactly the kind of stuff where, when people are going through, like, they're big... You always got to make some modifications. You just got to make some modifications. So, this is going to be a lot of pieces that I think we're going to set aside here. Let's set aside those. And then 2 of these. 1 of these. 2 more of these. And kind of the reason why I'm doing this is, like, I don't want to have just the train track, because obviously you can see through the train track. You can tell, like, kind of what's underneath it. And I don't want to show the table. I don't want to show what's underneath it. I want to show, like, what kind of scenario is the train track on. So this is a perfect example where, like, here, okay, this train track is in sort of like my desert section. So it should show a little bit of desert kind of stuff below it. Putting aside those. 2, 3, 4. Now these little guys, I will probably use those tan pieces. Be nicer if they were dark tan. And then this says, take 2 train sections, put them together. And it's kind of, like, it seems almost, this is like such a basic thing to do. We're making the set less complex, basically, but still, And now I can, this is obviously sort of part of my desert section. So let's go ahead and take these 4 little dots that we had earlier and kind of put them in sort of like a similar space to where they were. So that's kind of like there. It's kind of like there. It's kind of like here. Where's the 4th one? It's kind of like here. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely nice when you kind of know exactly what you're working with. And that's kind of what I do too with my, like, all these pieces that I'm removing from the set and putting over back in the corner there. Like, I'm going to, like, take notes telling myself that I did that. 2 of those. Another one of these. Basically going to do the same thing again, I think. 2 more of those. Four more of these. And probably 2 more train tracks. Yep. You want to make those nice and flush. And then we'll put the studs down kind of where they were. So that one was kind of like there. Kind of like there. Kind of like there. Kind of like there. And the reason we have this difference is because I guess the designer of this Bricklink set was kind of thinking that, like, okay, well, for me, the desert is sandy color, light tan, and also with like some darker tan underneath it. But sort of in my, the way that I think about it, I tend to use this dark tan color. This, to me, I tend to use either for like wasteland or even more specifically for wet sand, you know, like on a beach or at the bottom of the ocean or something. So I'm trying to just keep using this very stereotypical light sandy desert sand color here. Do a bunch more of these. And this is obviously going to go really quick because all I'm doing is putting train tracks on the tan here. And then this time we're going to take 6 of these, 2, 4, 6. So one kind of here, kind of here. And these are like basically sandy pebbles that have gotten in the way of the train tracks, I guess. It's kind of here. It's kind of here. And the last set of 4. Put this away. Put these 2 away. Connect all this up. Put these away. Yeah, I love the little changes. It does drive me a little bit crazy trying to document all the little changes. Because it takes a lot of, like, you know, it takes time for sure. Okay, so this one's kind of like here. And these are kind of all over here. So it looks like this is like, it's about 120 centimeters worth of train track that you're getting with the set here, which is pretty good. Was that it? I think that was it. Oh no, we have to do this part. So where's bag 2? Here's bag 2. So now we are going to basically put these railroad ties on the train tracks, which is basically the single most, if you're buying like parts from like Pick-a-Brick, this is quite possibly the single most expensive part of like having like a Lego city or a Lego diorama, is when you go in and you start doing this part. At least for this set, the railroad ties already came with the set, so that's lucky for me. Looks like we've got 2 bandits here. Yeah, it's definitely expensive. go. And this character's got some dynamite, which, like, again, classic bandit stuff. How does a minifigure carry the dynamite? There we go. And then we have another bandit. We haven't made any, like, heroic train minifigures yet on this set. I guess they're all in the later part when you start working on the train more. So I think I have this upside down. Yep. He's got a fedora hat. Nice gun. Yeah, exactly. When you buy like 400 of a set of a part. Okay, the other one that gets railroad ties get me. I've actually never gone and bought the railroad ties because they're. I'll get around to it sometime. Actually, maybe it's time now that I've finally sort of made the rules for the train tracks for the city. But the other thing that gets really expensive is these pieces, the 1x1 stud with a hole through it. I use those as like grass in my like residential section for houses, and I buy them like 1,000 at a time, and they're only 5 cents. But oh my gosh, does that add up when you start getting lots and lots and lots of that? Cool, bandit guy. All right, let's make some railroad ties. So this one. Yeah, it's fun to make. Custom stickers. It's fun to make your own stickers. This set has got a few stickers, probably for the locomotive or for the engine. We didn't get quite that far, so we didn't have to worry about that as much. Okay, here we go. The Great Railroad Tie Adventure, Part 1. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Just going to go ahead and now some people go even farther than this. Obviously, this set is using ones that are two studs wide. Some people do it all with like one stud wide like this. And that is even more parts intensive, and I'm not willing to do that. It's just too much. I'll just take the easy way. Here we go. I think it's the easy way because it involves me buying less pieces, which is always a win. Unless you get really lucky and you find a big container of pieces. That's it. That's all we really had to do for that railroad, so I'll just put this back here. We'll do the other one. Now we kind of know what we're doing, so it's pretty straightforward here. And then the 1x2 tiles to finish off the ends. Hey, I mean, it can be hard sometimes to resist. Like, if you're like, hey, you know, they don't really need this piece in that set, but I could use this piece in my little own sets. It's tricky sometimes. Okay. There we go. So that's the train tracks. So now the last thing we're going to do with the Wild West train set is I'm going to go do exactly the same thing. I'm going to take off the underside of these two buildings. The little 1x1 brick. Just like we took it off of the train tracks. And hopefully this set will still be sturdy enough once we do that. Just decapitated I still can't remember what this animal is called that they have the skull. I keep wanting to say antelope, but I don't know that that's actually the right animal. So, okay. So we took those things off. If I break this water tower, I will be so sad. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. This is basically a discussion of like negative space versus positive space. I'll be able to kind of explain it a little bit better in a second here if I don't break the water tower. Please don't break the water tower. Okay. That still feels pretty sturdy to me. So I'm not really thinking I need to add anything more here, which is great. So let's put these extra little bits of texture back in. Kind of like that. This one right there. Then this one can go right there. Then we need a spot for that. That's the cactus spot, isn't it? So we'll put this one under the tower like that. Yeah. Then try to put the cactus back on. Great. That's still reasonably sturdy. Then we'll get the other one. Same process. Then I'll talk about the negative space a little bit. All right, first take off the outer stuff. Then we take off the dark tan. And again, I needed to finish these builds before I wanted to do this because I wanted to make sure the sets were going to be sturdy enough when I took them apart. Yeah, it's really tricky to like inventory a huge amount of Lego. It's a lot of work. Like there's a lot of work that comes with this hobby that people don't realize. Oh, this one is starting to fall apart when I take off its support pieces. So we're going to have to get creative here, which is okay. Let's finish taking off these black parts from underneath and then we'll fix what's being broken. Okay. But that's why it's kind of fun to hop on stream and talk to people about what you're trying to do, you know? So if I turn this piece, that should actually be enough here to provide a little stability. That didn't take much adjustment. Yeah, there we go. It's not perfect. Wait, why is that like that? Oh, because this is interesting. So we actually need to put it like I need to turn this one, which is going to be trouble. Oh no, it's all collapsing. Okay, take this, turn it that way, and put this right back down so things stop breaking. Put this in. Go back here, that goes there. This went here. We'll do this, which I think will work. Yes. Put this right here. You know, I knew I was going to do this, but I was watching as I was building the instructions. I kind of thought, I don't think this is going to be a big problem to modify, so I'm not too worried. And it's all right. Here, let's take this off, because we have these 2x2 circle pieces that we can also use to kind of connect things up as well, which is very helpful. Basically, kind of work with what you've got. But yes, it's always, always, always best when you can kind of plan out whatever you're going to do with a build before you jump in. That's what they say, measure twice, cut once, right? Like, you kind of want to have a plan for what you're doing. And that's often what I do with these streams, is I've sort of made a plan, and then I'll hop onto the stream and I'll actually execute the plan, which is very fun. There we go. This one's fine. Also sturdy. So now what I was saying about the negative space. So the designer had tan around the edges of the water tower and the windmill. So the way I'm going to do this is I set both these down, and it's a desert. So I have this dark tan color on the same level, but kind of in between them. So kind of like more like this. And then it's, yeah, and that actually, even just this little image right here kind of gets the idea across. It's a little messy. Like, obviously, when I actually put it in place, I'll clean it up a bit more. But you kind of get the idea of it's a bit flatter versus every building emerging from the sand, which is kind of silly, actually. So, put those over here. Put these extra black pieces away. We're almost done for the day, but we're not quite done. What set did you have to rebuild because of one piece? That sounds really frustrating. Put that back. Put these horses back. All right. Be right back. And the very last thing we're going to do today is we're going to do the exact same thing we just did with these train tracks for the Orient Express set. So let me grab the first 2 bags of that set. There we go. Oh, the skyline is a very beautiful set. Oh, let me get back here. Okay, last bit. So once again, instructions going all the way to the front. Again, the Orient Express is kind of different because it's got these paper bags with a plastic cover inside. I have to check extra carefully that there's no little pieces missing in there. And so that was bag 1. Let's go ahead and open up these extra bags of extra parts. Looks like this is one. See, but it's good. It's nice when you have some company and you can take the time to just really sit down and get in the zone and get the task done. Whether the task is sorting Lego or making a modification to a set or whatever it might be. Okay, so there's all of our railroad ties, all of our base plates. I think that's everything. So now, again, we're going to be pretty careful here. Let's build our minifigure. This is a kind of fun minifigure that came here with the Orient Express. This is Pippin Reed. Pippin was a character in the LEGO Adventures sets 20, 30 years ago, almost. And so now they're kind of like saying like, oh yeah, she's an adult now and it's fun that they're bringing her back. Very good. Okay, set Pippin aside. I do kind of know the lore. It's true. I really like this stuff. Okay, so, actually, I might be able to build this the way the instructions intended. So let's set these side by side. So what we need is base plate, next base plate, and then the railroad piece. If I say that the railroad piece is kind of like this, for these special railroads, this needs to sit on top of 2 base plates to be at the same level, which might actually be what they intended with the Orient Express. Let's see. Let's try mocking it up a little bit. So we have a base plate. Yeah, so the way that Bricklink Designer sets works is that it's roughly every 3 months, I think, or maybe it's every 6 months. They'll release a couple of sets that you can buy directly from them. Yeah, so let's double check where they want us to put this. No, I think it's too... I need to get to the point where they have us put some ties on so that I can actually see. Okay, here we go. That's actually kind of hard to see. Okay, so we have tie on top of plate on top of, I think, base plate. Yeah, so this one does have to be modified. This one does have to be modified. We have to take off the very bottom plates. Yeah, when we finish, this isn't going to take too long to build this the way that they're doing. So when we finish this, we'll, actually, let me go to, we don't need aerial, so let's go to POV like this so you can actually see the instructions I'm working off of here. When we finish this, I'll load up Bricklink and I'll kind of show how they do that. So all we have to do here is take off the very bottom layer. So each time I take them off, I'll put them over to the side here. So we're going to take off these 2. We have this. Another one. You can use your web browser like Google, and you can look up Bricklink Designer Program. And then you'll see like what was the most recent Bricklink Designer Program sets. So now we're taking off I should have another piece like this. Here it is. These 2 and these 2. And then 4 of these And then 8 of these. And now we can start building. And it's going to be a pretty simple pattern. It's going to look like this. One of these. This. These. We're basically just going to do this 4 times in a row. And I don't really need to worry about this being stable because they're train tracks. They just lay on the ground. I'm never going to be really picking them up and moving them around the city very much. In fact, I haven't even figured what part of the city I'm going to use this black steel track in. Probably either behind the skyscrapers or in the industrial section. I do use Excel. I really like Excel. I use Excel. I like... I have a Lego Minecraft diorama that's kind of totally separate from every other genre I have. And I used Excel to map out what it looks like, which worked really well. Do the same thing. I don't use it for inventory. Like I said, I use Notepad documents for inventory, which is crazy. I know that that's actually crazy of me, but that's how I do that. Okay. Then we'll do that again. I know what you're asking, but I don't know how to do that. I think that would be almost like you want to paste the image. You want the image to be attached to the cell so that when you move the cell size, that the image still stays. I know you can do that, but I don't know how to do it. There we go. Another one of those is done. And what pieces did we get rid of here? We got rid of 2 of these. And then I think I know what's coming next. Yep, 4 more of these we're getting rid of. And 8 more of these. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. And then we go on to bag 2, which is actually the very last bag of Orient Express for us, since we did the rest of it already. And we're basically probably going to do exactly the same thing over again, I think. Let's see. How would you say, like, so I know in French they would say something like super vite, the very fast, the train super vite, or of course we have TGV, train grande vitesse. Yeah, express just means rapido. Express, but it's actually not about the speed, really. It's more about that the train doesn't make a lot of extra stops. It only makes minimum number of stops, which is kind of different. Okay. What are we doing here? Same thing over on this side. Corto. Yeah, actually, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. Yeah. Okay, get rid of 2 of these. 4 of these. Four of these. Actually, yeah, no. Get rid of those. And then, so basically, all of this goes. But those stay. And all of this goes. But those stay. And then we can start doing this the way they expect it, which is like this. Yeah, that seems like a, again, the French phrase we would say is faux ami. Like you think it's the right word just because it sounds similar, but it doesn't actually seem to have the same concept. There we go. And then it's easy again. There we go. Same thing over here. Then what? Okay, so now get rid of 1 of these. Place this down. Do the normal thing. I love Star Wars. Actually, some of the only, if you look at my my YouTube channel, because I don't think they're on Instagram right now because I didn't make highlights of them, I have done some really cool Star Wars custom builds. So the 2 that come to mind are, I built a TIE Fighter factory, TIE Defender factory, just on a 32 by 32 base plate. And the other one is I built a TIE Fighter hangar. You know, like in a Star Destroyer when the ship comes into the Star Destroyer and then it lands on the black like hangar. And I did kind of both of those as custom builds, and I had a lot of fun doing those. Another one of these. I don't always do custom builds, but I mean, everybody who does Lego likes doing it sometimes. It just takes more time. I've also made some custom Star Wars ships. So the one I most recently did, this is a weird one. Yeah. I do like the superhero stuff. I like Marvel a little bit more than DC. But Lego, like Batman, obviously has a really long history with Lego. So we love Batman too. And they're probably going to want to connect these. Yep. Like that. And then we're going to get rid of 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And I don't think we're going to need this. I know what this is for. This is a train stop. Let's put it there. Almost done here. Actually, I need to do all that again, don't I? This 2x, wherever it stopped. I think right here. Yeah. So close. Oh, what was I going to say? Just that, okay, so there's a ship that was in Star Wars The Clone Wars. Not The Clone Wars, Star Wars The Bad Batch. And it's called the CX Dagger ship, or the CX Dagger transport. And I made that totally custom version of that. And I actually was just kind of messing around. I wasn't even doing it on stream, but it turned out really well. So what I'm probably going to do, we don't need that, is I'm actually going to make the instructions for it. Just because it's a sleek ship. It's got a cool new design. So I'm probably going to, like, you know, take it apart backwards and, like, actually record the instructions for it so that other people can make it if they want to. Because you can make it really easily as a modification of one of the sets that was out. And I haven't done a lot of that. Those are the last two pieces we're getting rid of. I haven't done a lot of, like, making my own instructions or whatever, but when I know that I've kind of accidentally built something which is pretty cool, which is pretty good, then I think it's kind of nice to, you know, give other people the chance to make it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost done here. So now the last thing is, again, this is like 1.25 meters long, so I can't really lay all this out. But maybe if I do it in halves, we can put these railroad ties on. So let's see just how long these are. So I'm probably going to do this one like that, and then we'll do these two end pieces last. And that way I can pick up this piece of railroad and move it around whenever I need to. Well, actually, yeah, no, it's a little better to do it that way. Even though it's less sturdy, again, I don't need my railroad tracks to be all that sturdy. So yeah, that's something I'll post eventually, is I'll go back and make those instructions. This is like that. Similarly, this one would be like that. This one. Goes like this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like, this is kind of the coolest part of, you know, having all these nice little Lego pieces, like these transparent pieces that you can put people on and they look like they're flying or floating. It's really fun to make dioramas. It's really fun to do stuff like that. This needs to be like this. And just like that, I think we're done. So we've now sort of fixed the train tracks for both the Orient Express and the Wild West train. We made 2 of the buildings for the Wild West train. And we had a good chat on stream. Kind of just going through our normal time. So I am actually going to call it right there. This is about the time we normally finish up. So thanks everybody who joined. It was, you know, whether you were lurking or chatting. It was actually great to have everybody. And I had a great time doing the stream this time. So I will probably next be streaming. I'm going to build The Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton, on December 24th, later than this. So people will probably be asleep in European time. But then same time next Sunday, we'll be streaming. I actually can't remember what we're building that time. It might be another Bricklink Designer Program set. So we'll see. All right, well, hope everybody has a great time. We'll see you next time.